All seen this video, reading off of something that he was told what to say. And Aviva said all she could see when she sees this video is that her son is skinnier than he was, and pale, and he hasn't seen sunlight, and he just wants his mom. And she so badly just wants him. I sometimes sit on my porch in Jerusalem, having my cup of coffee, listening to my kids fighting inside while I'm trying to wake up slower. And I imagine what it must be like for her, that every waking minute, you don't know what's going on with your baby. And it doesn't matter how old your baby is. This is what's going on. You don't know what's going on with your child. And all the thoughts that go through your head. So here's what they do. They do what they can. That for about 4 years, they did it in a quiet way. Aviva and Noam are very, in Hebrew there's a word, atzil. They're very dignified, quiet, respectful and respectable people. And so they really tried to do this in their own quiet way, and not scream, and not make a mess, and not get loud. Because they thought that maybe that was the way to not be involved, and not to not be involved, but the way to not make too much noise, not let Hamas know that they really have what is so precious to us, that we as Jews appreciate and respect the importance of every single Jewish soul. And if we don't let them know this, if we stay quiet, then maybe we can negotiate better. But for 4 years, that hasn't worked. And so in June, the family decided to go from their home in Mitzpeh Hilah, which is way up north. I joke with them how the nearest city to them is Beirut. And from Mitzpeh Hilah, they took a march down by foot, joined by tens of thousands of people, going down the entire coast of Israel, through Tel Aviv, and then across to Jerusalem. And every day, I'm sure you've all seen, I think, Forrest Gump, right? Everybody's seen this, where he's just joined, and this is what it was, by tens of thousands. This was something that rallied the entire country. And they got to a tent outside of the Prime Minister's house, and this is where they are. Since June 12th, they are in this tent every single day, and are not going to leave until Gilad comes home. So what is it that we do in this tent outside of the Prime Minister's home? Well, I can tell you what Bibi is doing. Bibi, who used to drive, this where the tent is, this used to be his route for every time he comes and goes. He's now changed his route so that he doesn't have to see us. I can tell you that what he's also done is that in the first 3 months that they were there, he did not even invite the family to come and speak with him. That Sarah Netanyahu made sure that she is very outspoken about the 400 Asian refugee children that Israel wanted to send out. Not once did she come out and say a word to Aviva or invite Aviva as another mother to come to her. The family has decided, and we as the campaign have decided, before Bibi took office, he promised that he was going to get Gilad home. And politicians say things, but this is Yoni Netanyahu's brother. I don't know what you know about Yoni Netanyahu. You've all heard of the Entebbe release, where they released 70 kidnapped Israelis. It was his brother who led that mission, and it was his brother who got killed fighting that mission, saving those Israeli lives. And so when Bibi promised, when he said, I'm going to do this, there was a legacy. And the family believed him, and the voters believed him. And so we are all there to say, Bibi, you promised, keep your promise. And this is why the family is there every day. So what is the day like? Well, on Fridays, every Friday, there's a protest where people come, we bang, we make noise, we yell, we scream, Gilad scream, because his can't be heard. And every Sunday morning when there's a cabinet meeting in the Knesset, we all go to the Knesset. There's outside of the Knesset, where they call the protest area, there's metal there so that people can't get too close to the Knesset. And we all take our wooden sticks and we bang. And there's a lot of youth there, teenagers, preteens, kids your age, who know that in a few years they're going to be in the army. And they are there screaming Gilad's scream and yelling his yell. because we all, like all of you, while you came out on a Sunday morning, want to do something. And when it's not Sunday and it's not Friday, the family is in a tent. Many people come to visit. Karnit Goldwasser, the wife of Udi Goldwasser, the soldier who was kidnapped together with Eldad Regev 2 weeks after Gilad, she comes frequently. The family and her are very close. She has been a tremendous support, and this is something that the family did together, and she's continuing to fight the battle even now that her husband's body has been back for a couple of years. Ron Arad's wife is also, I don't know if you know who Ron Arad is, he's in the poster together with Gilad. He was kidnapped over 25 years ago. The family's worst nightmare, the country's worst nightmare, is let us not have another Ron Arad. And what they did learn from the Arad family, who was quiet, who did just trust the government that they're going to do what they need, is we can't be quiet. We need to make this noise. Then there's another group of incredible people who I find, well, there's two groups who I find personally inspirational. There's a group called Erim Balayla, Awake at Night. These are soldiers, over 100 of them, who during 1973 in the Yom Kippur War, these were 100 soldiers who all got held in captive, either in Syria or in Egypt. And many of them come to the tent to lend their support. Many of them have told us stories. Some of them have wrote a book. One who I've become particularly close with is Amnon. Amnon showed up the day after Gilad was kidnapped, when we all thought this was a matter of, okay, there was a glitch, there was a mess up, but this is going to get fixed. And he said to the family, I'm here to help Gilad deal with it when he comes back. Amnon was held in Syria for over a year. I asked Amnon once, after they got all the information from you, after they interrogated you and beat you and did what they can to get from you what they could, did it end? Were you just in a dark room alone and it was scary? And he said that what the Syrians did is that at night, the guards would bring their friends, and the event for the evening was, let's beat the Israeli soldiers. This was their activity. Amnon is now 63 years old. He still wakes up every morning and checks that each of his limbs is there, because there were guys who would pass out from the beatings, and when they woke up, they were missing a limb. He said their biggest fear was that they shouldn't be beaten at night when the doctor wasn't there, because if they were beaten during the day, then the doctor would be there to make sure that they're awakened again so that they can continue to abuse them. If something happened at night that they lost consciousness, then sometimes it was too late by the time the doctor came in the morning. And this was for a year and 3 months. Gilad has been there for 4.5 years. There's another soldier who I speak with often, who he was held in captive for only 9 months, and his wife had no idea where he was. He had a child born while he was gone. And she says, even now, he still doesn't sleep at night. And so there's therapy and there's psychology and there's things we can do, and we just need to get Gilad back so we can start to deal with us. But if any of us think that after 4.5 years, maybe he's not suffering anymore, maybe it's just scary and lonely, and we can hope to God that that's true, but we don't know, and we need to get him home. What's also amazing is, aside from all of these, there are also Knesset members who come and visit, some who cynically come to just take pictures with the Shalit family, and some who are actually doing whatever they can to help. There are also a lot of regular people who come. There are a nice Haredi contingent that I love to see, that they come to the tent and they sit there and they say their Tehillim. We all had an interesting cultural learning experience when this group of women came and did hafrashat challah in the tent, that there's some sort of segula to making challah in the tent, and this was something that was also done. Everybody does whatever they can to help. Another group that I find personally inspiring is the youth that are in the tent. My son in the back is actually selling shirts just like this. He is part of the Youth for Release of Gilad Shalit. These are kids who spent their entire summer vacation coming to the tent and would stay there for weeks at a time. And they would protest, and they would sell shirts, and they would give out ribbons, and they would get people to sign petitions. And when we had rallies, when we had Gilad's birthday was over the summer, and when we had protests and wanted to let people know, they were going to the shuk and to the Malchamol